mic on the podium for us?
Are you sorry?
I've been to all this.
I'm still.
Oh, you know where I am then.
Yes, ma'am.
Martin Street. She done our policy? She just left her house. I think it's probably not. Either way. Yeah. I'm going to slash this for yes.
I still don't know what to
So that would go on the deer side and go very
Socks aren't staying up, Emily.
Candace, whenever you're fresh, I need to red lights. It's fresh out here. Yeah. He said to go. So
Okay, all right, good. You all ready to go? Mr. Stewart. Voice of the people, that
Rich, you have your glasses? Okay, I got these.
I want to see more. I want to see for more than just a year throwing. I'm scared. I've never seen so many people up here.
All right, folks. Welcome to the city council meeting. What a good time. We will start now and open the meeting at 5:33 p.m. Regular city council meeting, Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. And I would like to start. Did anyone with Shepherd's Valley Cowboy Church show up? Nope. We're going to have them do the invocation. They must have gotten the horse didn't get out all right. If you'll stand, join me in the invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you've given us and the cool weather we've had, the rain. You've been so good to us. You give us what we need. We know that. Lord, give us discernment tonight. Give us the knowledge that we need to do the things for the citizens and for this city. Let us be mindful of the true needs, the true direction that we want to take it. Keeping in mind our statements that we want to make, that we fulfill to the citizens. Lord, protect us all as we return home, and we ask for your blessings on every day. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Pledge allegiance to the United States of America. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas pledge.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you all. Let's see who's here. Councilmember Mann.
Here.
Councilmember Schultz.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Conrad.
Present.
Councilmember Freeze,
Present.
Councilmember Brennan.
Present.
We have all five, thank you. On the visitor comments, and anytime you come up to speak today, we ask that you address the city council in an orderly and respectful manner. Any who wish to speak, please approach the podium, give your name and address for the record. Comments during the agenda items for the public hearings and for individual consideration will be limited to 3 minutes. And a portion of that allotted 3 minutes cannot be shared with anyone else. I request you silence your phones and we'll pay attention, get out of here quick tonight. We're going to start with opening comments on one of our partners that has come to town to explain, Sarah Eckert. She is with Map Creator. You've probably seen her walking around town drawing things.
Okay, Sarah Eckert with Map It Out, and my address is 412 South Avenue, Fredericksburg, Texas, 78624.
Thank you.
If you'll pass the packet down, there's only from this one. I'll get you one bigger.
I'll look over George.
Pass one down here. Awesome.
Oh, good one. Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it, sir.
6, and then 1 for each. So Rita Smith contacted me about 6 months ago to do you guys a map. The first packet I gave you has the Fredericksburg map, which started in 1994. So my business is 30 years old. I also do Terlingua, Gurney, Comfort. I do a winery, brewery, distillery map of the Hill Country. So my plan is forecasted to do 100 maps. We're branding it as Map It Out. Used to be called Bird's Eye View Maps. If you go to the Library of Congress, all the old maps are still branded as Bird's Eye View Maps. We have, by next March, we'll have 13. So you guys just slid right in. The difference between this map and the other maps I do is this is not an advertised map. You guys paid for it, so thank you. That could be phase 2 if you're ever interested in it. And this one is also a full colored map. Rita and I work together on the colors. So once this is, you gotta look at it real lightly. If you look at the finished product, that's the direction I'm going. I'm just not there yet. But since you guys were having a meeting, I wanted to come up and introduce myself and show you where we're at right now. So the one that looks like this, that has all those little boxes, Rita wanted to get one out, and this one should be done within the next 2 weeks. So at least we can print and get something to the hotels and tourists. And then the other one is one side, whereas the other side will be an overview. Does that make sense? Okay. That's it.
Anybody have a question?
Oh, make changes. If you see anything on there that you wish that was on there, please pass it and get it to Rita, and she will give it to me.
That's my only question is how did you go about determining, Rita, were you the one that identified what places needed to be marked on here?
Me and we Googled, we walked around, they toured, she came with her partner and they drove and literally, they just, so, and also I went online and made sure I'm going on Glen Road, just tried to get as much as I could,
I saw
so
that, yeah.
I think I might post it and then just say, if you don't see yourself, here's your chance, Yeah.
Very cool.
Is this designed to be folded or?
So it can be folded. I distribute all my products to TechStop, so you guys will fall in that also. So it'll be folded to where it can be a standalone, and then it'll also, yes, correct, like that. And then the printer will also design it where you'll have 100 in a packet, and then you can tear off.
Oh, cool.
So we've got quotes and all that.
And will it be in digital format as well?
Yes, ma'am. And then you'll also be a part of our website. If you go to mapitout.com, we're still working on that because the state doesn't fit all our maps. I've got to rethink that whole idea.
Yes, thanks, Sarah.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Yeah, I love it.
Don't have anyone else who wants to speak in open comments. We're gonna move to individual items for consideration. Number 1 item is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding TCEQ issuance of proposed permit.
Okay, welcome. We have some visitors here too, that have some passion around this topic. So some of you may have heard me talk before in the past about, the Wolf Hollow Park, which is in Hood County, it is very, very close to the Somerville County line. And as Commissioner-elect Jocelyn likes to say, things like noise, like pollution, like water tables don't know county lines, and that is certainly the case here. So we have been, and I learned this, I want to say in January, that folks within our county and within our city have been feeling negative impacts of a Bitcoin facility. I will not call it a mine because they don't mine anything, but a Bitcoin facility that is currently attached to Wolf Hollow 2, which is at Hood County. My understanding is estimates are about 30% of the electricity from Wolf Hollow 2 is for the purposes of generating energy for the computers that are at this Bitcoin facility. So 30% of that electricity goes directly to the churning of computers to come up with lottery numbers, essentially. Recently, Wolf Hollow has requested, they want to do Wolf Hollow 3, so they want to have an expansion. And that expansion includes an expansion of pollution. And so they have to request permits from TCEQ. So TCEQ sent out notifications to folks impacted about this permit request. And so I heard this read, I went to a meeting last night, and what stood out to me is, this is the notice that went to residents. And what stood out to me was where it says, the proposed facility will emit the following air contaminants in a significant amount: carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and particulate matters. Another thing they talked about last night that was not in here, but that was recognized, is that also includes things like mercury. So an increased introduction of mercury to our environment. And so the question that I posed last night, and the rationale behind the need for this expansion is to stabilize our grid, right? There's going to be increased demand, and so we need to stabilize our grid. And in fact, there was recently testimony to state Congress that said there is going to be an expected doubling of electricity demand in 6 years. So ERCOT has said that they expect the demand to double in the next 6 years. And they specifically said data centers and Bitcoin mines are the primary driver. More than 50% of their expectation of this doubling is coming from those. And so the question that I posed to TCEQ, and particularly to Constellation Energy, who's making this request, was, obviously sometimes we have to, pollution or poison, really, is a part of our world. It's something that we all have to deal with. But the question is, how thoughtful are we in expending that pollution in a way that is necessary? So there's a difference between pollution that is absolutely critical and necessary. We need to make sure people's houses stay warm in February, and pollution for, say, the purposes of, I don't know, a big, huge lottery machine that most folks will never benefit from. And in fact, many of our county residents are currently being harmed by. And so my position, and what I'm asking the council to consider, is to, I personally requested last night that this permit not be granted on that basis. And my request was, hey, we don't know if it's necessary yet. And just like at home, this is the example I shared last night, is if I'm bumping up against my budget, I don't just go to my boss and say, I need more money. My expenses have gotten too high. I have to manage my expenses. And so I have to cut the Netflix, or I have to get the electricity, lights turned off, or what have you. And right now they're not doing that. They're not looking for ways that they can minimize the pollution. Instead, they're just saying, please let us pollute some more. And in this case, let us pollute more for the purposes of an industry that is unquestionably doing harm. There may be questions about the health impacts, et cetera, but there is no question that people aren't sleeping. And there is no question that a lack of sleep is harmful to people. No one's disputing that. And so I submitted a letter requesting that they do not provide this permit. What you've got in our city council packet is the Hood County Commissioners Court met and unanimously agreed to submit a resolution formally requesting TCEQ to not approve these permits, so that there's a formal request that's coming from that municipality, not just from the individuals on it. So what you have in your packet is that I've based that resolution, removed some things that weren't pertinent to us. And certainly we have some folks here that can speak, and I know that Commissioner-elect Jocelyn has spoken with countless residents in that precinct that have shared with him some of the issues and concerns that they have. So that's what I'm asking, is for us to pass that resolution urging TCEQ to not grant the permit. Whew, I know. There's a lot.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is that a copy of the TCEQ letter?
Yes, and I will make copies and give you copies for sure.
Mayor,
Yeah, go right ahead.
so I was also at that meeting last night, and I want to say it was probably in the neighborhood of 200 Somerville and Hood County families that are highly impacted by this and are very concerned. Of the citizens that were all up there that came to speak, and I just want to say, we were there from what time did it start, 6 or 5:30?
Seven.
So,
No, seven, yeah.
We didn't get out of there till probably closer to 10. It was a very long night and very busy night. But anyway, where I was going with this is everybody that spoke, there was not a single solitary individual that came up forward that said, I would like this approved. Every citizen that spoke or that either had questions or comments, basically said they do not support this, and they asked TCEQ to please do not honor this permit.
We have a couple of people present that'd like to speak. Cheryl
Shad.
Shadden.
Good evening. I'm Cheryl Shadden. I live in Hood County. I live right across the street from Wolf Hollow and Marathon Digital. So the TCEQ public hearing last night, one of the reasons that we got that hearing is because Dwayne Burns, House Representative for Johnson and Somerville County, asked for it. He was kind enough to sign on to that when our politicians would not. So he is concerned. That's one of the reasons we got that. Last night was a public hearing. You can have public comments, but we're asking for a contested hearing, which means judicial. Tomorrow is a deadline. So you can get on TCEQ's website. You can ask for contested hearing. We all are. It doesn't mean they're going to grant it, but if this is a concern for this county at all, and Hood County, you need to do this. We're hoping to take them to court. Now, that doesn't mean anything. TCEQ can do whatever they want. So even if you have a judge that rules in your favor, TCEQ can still issue a permit. Now, they may make them alter it or do something different, but all of this pollution that's going to hit Hood County and Somerville County, not to mention the additional noise that's coming with all of this, is unacceptable.
Thank you, Cheryl. We also have John Highsmith.
Oh, I'm John Highsmith. I live in Pecan Plantation, and I got involved in this effort back in January, where our county commissioner had a meeting, and she does these regular meetings, and several members of the community, both from Hood County and Somerville County, got up and spoke, and I would just tell you, it was heartbreaking. The suffering that they've encountered, dealt with, it continues on. That's from the noise. Now we're really alarmed about what the Constellation Energy wants to do, because what we learned last night was, the way TCEQ does this is they don't do any monitoring, physical monitoring of the emissions. All right. It's all a model. It's all hypothetical. The monitoring station for this region is in Midlothian, which is just astounding. So what that means is if they have an excursion, I just don't know about it. It's not going to be measured. Nothing's going to be collected. So a lot of concern about this. We have a number of power plants, gas power plants in the area. Those are in Hood County, but that wind, it'll take it over into Somerville County. So our feeling is that we've got to get things like this document that you all are looking at, because this goes to the legislators. They're the ones who can put some pressure on TCEQ. So that's what we're asking for. So appreciate it very much.
Thank you for coming, John.
I have a question on John.
John has a question
John,
for you. Sorry.
You said a word, you said excursion. That sounds like a technical term. What's that mean?
Well, the way the permits are written is they are not to exceed certain levels on, let's take one of the constituents This is actually one, sulfuric acid mist. Okay, it will emit sulfuric acid mist. So they'll come up with, okay, you can't have more than this amount. You go over, then that's an excursion. That's just what they call it.
But to piggyback on what he said, that's so important is they don't have a thing out there measuring. There's no contraption taking it in. And in fact, when they do their annual visit, they get notification ahead of time of when so we said, when do you actually test the air? Well, they test it in an annual visit. Okay, is that annual visit a surprise? Like I get audited, surprise, we're here. Is it a surprise? It is not. It is scheduled and they know when they're coming. And just frankly speaking, this particular business has not demonstrated good citizenship with its neighbors. You want to talk about friends and neighbors? They are not. And so they're saying we're only going to use 40% of capacity. So they've applied to only be able to use 40%. So first they're saying we're only going to use 40% and then we're only going to pollute this much, of which there's no one measuring what percent they use and there's no one measuring how much they're going to pollute. And so it's essentially the honor system with an industry that I consider to be dishonorable.
Have John tell you about mercury.
Okay,
John, tell us about
I
mercury.
don't want to take up all your time.
This is an important issue.
Okay, mercury is a very bad actor. Okay, and neurological issues with very, very minute amounts of mercury. To give you an example, I was in the hazardous waste business. So we burn hazardous waste in cement kilns. And if a stream came in and the mercury tested higher than 2 parts per billion, we rejected the stream. That was too much. But because this isn't in the hazardous waste realm, okay, and what is alarming is if you Google or research, is there mercury in natural gas? And I have a problem with it even being called natural gas because it's kind of a misnomer. But it'll tell you it can have up to 5,500 parts per million. Okay, so you have a fuel source where you know there's mercury. And what you would have is no real testing for the mercury. So you really don't know, but it doesn't take much to really damage people's health.
Thank you.
And this mercury then ends up going into the Brazos as well as Lake Granbury and also our reservoir.
Yes, that's what it's known for, is for bioaccumulation. So if you've ever gone to the store, some places you see, like for some certain kinds of fish, it'll have a mercury warning. Don't eat more than, this 3 times a month or something, whatever it is, because the fish will uptake that mercury that gets into any kind of water drinks.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, John. I think that's it.
I have one other question.
All right, George.
So, reading this letter, everybody's familiar with it. The executive director has determined that the emissions, blah, 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 will not violate any state or federal air regulations. Then the next page says the meeting was last night. Is this still a timely?
Yes, because they're taking feedback from us up until tomorrow, end of the day tomorrow. And I spoke with the person collecting that and she gave me the direct email to send it to. And so that would be the plan, would be to send it to them on that email, to also send it to Burns' office, to send it to Birdwell's office, to send it to the CEO of Constellation, because they're the ones that are requesting this and they're the ones that are the tenants to the mine that is drawing so much of this power off of the grid. And I would say this, even if we didn't have one single person in Somerville County affected by this, which every time I go to a meeting, 5 more people come up to me. Troy was telling me he was at church and they were talking about it. Even if it wasn't one Somerville County resident, these are our friends and neighbors in Hood County and in our state and in our country. So I would have brought this forward whether we had folks here being affected by it or not. But the fact that we do, I feel compelled that it's no longer an act of partnership, but instead an act of representation.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor? 5-0 passes.
Thank y'all very much. This is gonna mean a great deal to folks. I also want to recognize Commissioner Harris was there last night, and Commissioner Harris has been at every meeting that I've been at, so he's been dedicated to this as well. Thank y'all for coming in and sharing.
Thanks. Okay, we're gonna move to item number 2, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding implementation of a City of Glen Rose sex offender residency ordinance to regulate and enforce residency policies and laws. And this is for minors. This does not include adults, just minors. I felt like, and it was brought to my attention, the city did not have an offender ordinance for underage 17 and under people. And I think this allows us to stricter enforcement, closer enforcement. We don't rely on the state or the sheriff's department to do our work. We do it. And I think it's extremely important that we create that atmosphere that we have up there on our vision statement. And I think part of it is protecting us all, keeping us safe. And so I'll just let you know that I put it together with the help of the Sheriff's Department, Biloxi River Advocacy Center, Burleson Police Department, and Weatherford Police Department. I used theirs, and they gave me permission to use their language. And it was reviewed by our attorney. A final copy came to me in an approved form, and that's what's before you. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you for doing this. This is massive. Thank you.
Mayor, I got one question. It states in here that the city shall review the map annually. Since there was no map, I'm assuming that the map we're talking about is going to be the city of Glen Rose, but it hasn't been reviewed or maintained. Does this need to be, do we need to have a map included into this
The
package?
Sheriff's Department has it. And I mean, the map shows actual offenders and where they live, address. That's what the map will have on it. And the sheriff's office, you can do it online. I'm sure you've done that, Bob.
So for the annual review, we are relying then on staff or the sheriffs or the police chief to review it with the sheriffs, or?
Well, right now, the plan is to review it with the sheriff and use their map.
And-
Yeah, because they do police the thing.
Right.
I don't want to have dual coverage on one guy that needs to, or one person that needs to be checked.
No, I agree. It's a great thing, well needed, and I applaud it.
Thank you.
Yet this is only applicable to minors.
Yes, offenders of minors 17 and below.
Oh, offenders and minors. Okay, gotcha.
I move to approve the resolution. Wait, I don't have it in front of me, sorry. But I approve, yeah, it's in a resolution, correct? I approve to move the resolution as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor? 5-0 passes. Thank you all. I've got a little connection. It's just going to dovetail right off this, but I wanted to say these things because the public is important. And the reason this came to us was Lois Lane, also known as Hannah Barracks, brought it to our attention, Troy and I, and we decided to act on it. And without knowing that, we would have just been filling potholes. I think it's important, and thank you, Hannah, for taking an interest in the protection of kids in this community. Doug Mitchell, who's not here, but he's an active person in the city, 40-year veteran in Houston for child sex offender enforcement. He was very helpful, giving me items. Alan West and Melanie Bybee, Somerville County Sheriff's Department. Buck Martin reviewed and went over it. And Biloxi River Children's Advocacy Center also gave me advice, and I met with them as well. I think it's important we also recognize that this ordinance is going to have a special dedicated name to it. Linda McCaffrey was very active with the children in our community and did a lot. And I wish we'd done this before she passed. I always find that, looking back, it's something I can improve upon. We all can. But she was a dedicated resident leader, volunteer for this city. She was in great part active in the protection of youth, education of youth. And I want to celebrate this dedication to her today. And I would like to say that I'm gonna offer a proclamation in her behalf because we need more people like that. And I promise you, we'll try to do a proclamation sooner than that because you all deserve it. Hannah, thank you again for bringing this forward. And I have this, and I'd like someone to read it for me. You like to read it?
Yes, sir. You want it? Whereas Miss Linda Jo McCaffrey, treasured resident of the city of Glen Rose, whose love, passion, and concern for her community showed each day, and her spirit of caring will shine bright in our memories. And whereas Glen Rose, Texas benefited from all of her tireless efforts to better the community and to promote the positive progress of her home city, especially in her dedication to the care and protection of children. And whereas the city of Glen Rose is honored to have had Ms. McCaffrey serve as a dedicated volunteer with several organizations in Glen Rose, with her dedication to what is best for the community and its residents. And whereas the example that Linda provided through her involvement, services, and dedication to volunteerism have provided a model for others to emulate. And now, therefore, I, Joe Bowles, Mayor of the City of Glen Rose, on behalf of the entire city, city council, and city staff, do hereby proclaim Friday, September 20th, 2024 as Be Like Linda Day. We present this posthumously in memory of Miss Linda Jo McCaffrey, Protect the Children Honorary Ordinance Dedication in Glen Rose, Texas.
If I'll get an applause like that one day. A bench, something, please. Thank you, Frieden. That was very brave of you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. You want to present that for Dr.
He was sleeping too good.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. That was great to us. Okay, item number 3.
Fireball.
Number 3, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding text-21 membership dues.
So I asked for this to be placed on the agenda. It's $2,500 annual membership dues. They are due and payable October 1. It's something that city administrator could, authorize payment for, but I just want to point out that I think it's a valuable service that we have an opportunity to work with the Text-21 organization. For the general citizenry, it stands for Transportation Excellence in the 21st Century. And the idea is to adopt a Vision Zero resolution where we work towards having zero traffic deaths on state roads for one day at least in a year. And just for a reference, we have not had a single day without a death on a road in the state of Texas since like 1999 to 2001, coming up on 20 plus years of that. And this organization advocates. We work up as a team, and we work on corridors, and we advocate primarily for funding, but also to bring to light areas in the state that have a critical need for transportation infrastructure improvement. And that's really, the overarching goal of this organization. There are a couple other things that, they have, because it is a statewide organization. There is some interest in ports, widening ports, deepening ports, things like that, not necessarily germane to the city of Glen Rose, but for the opportunity that we get to network and make connections with the decision makers in North Central Texas Council of Governments, in other states within the TxDOT organization. Our engineer's boss's boss people that we have an opportunity to interact with and say, you know, look, TxDOT here locally is helping us, and we need more help in this area particularly as well. It's just a real door opener for us as a city. And I've served on as kind of the lead person for it for, I guess, 3 years now, and I feel strongly about it. I think we ought to rejoin for $2,500 again for the coming year.
Any conversation?
I would just say, I know I've heard you share with us things that you've learned from being there and things that you've learned from being there, being able to apply to stuff we're doing. So you've demonstrated it's applicable for us.
It's been very educating sitting there on that same committee with George and being at those meetings. It's to, as George said, meeting with the other individuals that throughout the state that have a voice and want to talk, and the teamwork that you make with those individuals. And it's not just folks in Texas. We've met with folks from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, you know, because it all intertwines. And as George said, the ports are a big part of that. For those of you that don't know, right now Corpus Christi have been having Army Corps of Engineers dredging their ports to make their ports even deeper and larger, and they're replacing certain bridges to make them a lot higher to get ready for mega cargo ships. And the mega cargo ships, for those that don't know, it's going to be, each ship that comes in is going to basically have roughly 12,000 cargo containers. Those same cargo containers are going to be transported up and down these highways in every direction into all those neighboring states. So not only are we going to have increased traffic because of the additional big rigs, but also, you know, it's good to see that TxDOT is on the forefront of this, trying to make sure that the roads are starting to be encompassed and thought of, and that the ports are, and so on. They're thinking ahead of it instead of being reactive.
That's great.
There's a bridge crossing happening on Highway 67 right at the border that will increase the capacity of freight coming across there. There's a railroad spur that TxDOT actually owns that goes across into Mexico at that location that's going to increase traffic. And, you know, to me, this kind of harkens back to when we had the Highway 67 coalition 25 years ago, and the push was to get Highway 67 widened all the way from Fort Worth down. You know, the goal was all the way to the border. We've gotten this far, and we're headed south to Stephenville, and you know, there's work to be done with it. And to that end, at the legislative session coming up in 25, there will be monthly meetings every month that the legislature is in session. So if you could take a day and we could go down and flood the zone and volunteer to go and talk with the legislative staff. Generally, you get opportunity with legislative staff, maybe their chief of staff, maybe their legislative policy director. But, you know, you spend a whole day in the Capitol, you know, flooding the zone with the things that are important for us. And it's an opportunity to make those connections with 15, 18 staffers, you know, in a day. And then you go back to them and you see them again, and you see them again, and you see them again. You get 4 visits, 5 visits. They coordinate all of it. All you have to do is show up, give the blurb, be passionate about what you're asking for, and answer any questions, and then have some expectations from them back to us. It's a good organization. I think it's $2,500 well spent.
I move to pay the dues on the Texas 21 membership dues.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Second.
Dean seconds. All in favor? 5-0 passes. Thank you, George.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, some more membership. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the Chisholm Trail 100 Club membership dues for first responders.
Well, so the Chisholm Trail 100 Club is a, I'll do a little pre-run before you get started, Tanya. The Chisholm Trail 100 Club is a benevolent or a service for first responders. It takes care of either the dependents of first responders with scholarships and or injury benefits, death benefits. The 100 Club is all over the U.S. But the Chisholm Trail 100 Club strictly encompasses Johnson County, Hood County, and Somerville.
And Mansfield, city of Mansfield.
And the city of Mansfield. It's been in effect since 2009, and we have never paid into it. However, they have covered us for those last 15 years. The membership dues is only $50 a year per first responder. And it has great benefits overall. The county wasn't paying into it either. And I will say that the Gibson family was a recipient of it just last year when he passed. We also do have 2, I believe, scholarships that were handed out. 3 since its inception to students here in our school. So we feel it's been very beneficial, and we look forward to working with the Chisholm Trail 100 Club. I'll let you add into whatever you'd like to say to that.
My name is Tanya Logston, and I live at 4606 County Road 313 Loop here in Glen Rose. I first learned about the CT 100 when I was in Commissioner's Court, and their actual administrators came and asked on behalf of Hood County for $7,500 so that Hood County could host a CT 100 fundraiser on behalf of Hood County. And I keep saying that because nobody in Somerville County seemed to have a clue who CT 100 was. So they did their presentation, and of course the county commissioners granted it. And so Hood County's raising funds out here at the golf course. Great, I'm excited for Hood County. It is time for every county to step up, Somerville included. So it caused me to have some major thought processes. And so I asked the administrators, why do we not know anything about it, and why is it not active here? And so it started the ball. In the process of that, Miss Ann Carver with Bernard Mill decided she would help me as well, and I would take the lead on it and get the information. We did hold a workshop, and in that workshop, Ann Carver and I decided that we needed 2 members from each of the entities that were affected or affected the first responders in this community. So we had 2 fire department, and Brian Jones came. We had 2 from city council. We have 2 from the county commissioner's court. We have 2 SOs. We also have, Buck comes every time we have a meeting. We also have 3 individuals who do not benefit whatsoever from the CT 100. That would be myself, Ann Carver, and Mary Collier. We are in the process of working to form a very dedicated board for it. The board has not been formed yet. We're still in a workshop mode. It is our belief that every one of the first responders in Somerville County should hold a membership to the CT 100. It's kind of like, it's like this. If I am asking you to donate money to my organization, and you ask me, well, are you a member? And I tell you no, how likely are you going to give me money? You're very unlikely going to give me any money. It does, the insurance policy does cover every one of our first responders, and that includes our volunteers at the fire department. It's not just for the paid people. It also includes our jailers because of their, Buck, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's because of the certification that they receive at the jail, which qualifies them to also be first responders. So it does encompass a lot. What it does with the membership is it affords these people the opportunity to be something bigger than themselves and to be a part of something that is raising funds to provide them protection. We have had 3 officers that have fallen in Somerville County since the CT 100's inception 19 years ago. 19 years we've been covered, and at no time has Somerville County ever donated. We can't even find a handful of members that belong. Myself and Ann Carver and Mary Collier will all be members, and we have to pay far more than $50. It's $50 for each one of our first responders to be a member, and that membership is renewed every year. I have been working with, I never like to bring up the county commissioners inside the city council room, no more than I like to bring up city council in the commissioner's court. Okay, but I have worked and tried to work with the county commissioners to help offset some of the funding so that we can get our first responders covered with their membership. That's all I'm asking for.
All right,
We
let's
need
take
to
some
cover it.
discussion from the council. You have a question, anything to say, Stuart?
before we wrap it up, I would, on this item here, we only have the police officer, Chief Martin. But I would like for you guys to consider the 36 volunteer firefighters. Maybe we could handle the volunteers and let the county handle the pay people. That would be 1,800 plus Chief Martin, it would be 1,850.
And when we bring officers on, they can be added at any point, right? It's not an
Yes.
annual
Right,
enrollment?
It is, no,
But
it's not.
it would be annual for the volunteers, and sometimes that might flow, I would think might flow down to maybe 34, 33,
fluctuate
34. I
up
think
to
they
as
have
high as
36
What's
spots
the
open.
total number, paid and volunteer, total number of firefighters?
I
We need
wouldn't know.
5150 to pay for all of our first
Paid
responders.
is currently 21 paid staff.
Okay,
And I
21
thought
paid
volunteers was only 30, but obviously they must.
They
have
can
added a
have
few.
up to 40 volunteers.
Okay.
Currently, we have 36 to 38.
Mhm.
Now, some of the volunteers that are on there, and Brian and I talked about this, are also SOs.
Yeah.
Okay, and some of the volunteers that are on there are also county elected officials. I honestly do not think we need to cover the county elected officials in that volunteer roster. I think that those gentlemen and ladies can step up on their own because they're on the roster, and please don't shoot me, and please don't take offense to this. They're not like active firefighters. They're not active volunteers. Not all of them.
Okay, anybody else? I have one question. A
Absolutely.
volunteer fire department member volunteers for 3 weeks and decides it's not for him and we funded it. Is it transferable?
No, but it's only good for a year.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would suggest is that if you elect to do the fire department, let's just say, I'll take the fire department as a whole. On the volunteers, I would do the active volunteers. And that would include and encompass Officer Beatty, who he works for DPS. It's highly unlikely I'm going to be able to convince DPS to give me $50, okay?
Anybody else? Any questions?
I just want to say that as a volunteer firefighter, also I'm going to recluse from any voting on this matter. So it is something I'm passionate about. Glad to answer any questions, but I don't want to.
So what I am good with, why don't we just say we split the firefighters 50%? And maybe to your point, could we say they're not to be enrolled until 90 days on the job? So that we kind of give folks a minute to get there and go, ooh, I don't like this. So we kind of cover there. And then that way, whatever the numbers flex to, we're just agreeing to 50% of the total population.
50% of the total of the
Fire department.
fire department and SO, or just the fire department?
That would include paid and volunteers?
Yes. Mhm.
How many paid is on the department?
21.
I think it'd be, if we covered the volunteers, that would put the county to make sure that because they have since they have an HR department, they have a better knowledge of who's coming in and going out and all that. And they have a little better knowledge of their staff.
Okay.
That's just my recommendation, but
I was just trying to keep math easy.
I would support that. My father-in-law was a volunteer fire department here, for close to 2 decades. Ran a lot of ambulances, ran a lot of, people in wrecks and trucks and, whatever, took time off and in some cases didn't get paid for that time, with the job that he was having at the time. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't, but he always got, carried the pager, and when the call out came, he was gone. So, those volunteers have a immeasurable service to the community. So it's a very small thing for me to, wrap a, little bit of money around that to support the guys and the ladies who are out there, at all hours of the night, running the river, doing things. It's just it's a huge volunteer task. It's huge service.
Can I make one suggestion? That instead of just restricting yourself and in order to ensure that it's worded a little more plainly, could we just encompass the entire fire department, paid and volunteer, those that are active 90 days, and include our highway patrol officers We only have one currently. I know they're trying to get a second one in.
Well, not the whole fire department, so but the volunteers are more than the paid, correct? There's more volunteers than paid?
Yes, and the volunteers, they spend their own money, you know, to do, they don't get paid to go chase
And
fires.
what was the other position you said?
Our highway patrol.
Yes.
But he's also a volunteer.
Yeah, yes. So I'm gonna take it. Sorry, I was gonna make a motion, but we haven't opened it up yet.
Do we need a motion or could we just direct staff to?
You do. Do have a question though?
Pam, something factual?
Yes,
Go ahead, please.
instead of trying to decide who, what positions, why not just set aside an allocated fund that says we're giving $2,000 annually and then let,
CT 100 put it.
yeah,
CT 100 doesn't work that way,
well, or
just,
then give it,
Well, I'm sure that takes money one way or another.
but have your HR department at county say, here's our $2,000. You guys figure out.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. Council, do you have any flavor?
What's your idea on splitting the whole thing? Then we know exactly what the number is. Then we split SO, we split the whole thing as a whole. You said it's 5,100?
5150 will cover
5150.
all of our first responders.
And I think we can do that and it good faith for, hey, you know, we appreciate what you do. I mean, the first responders and kids, I'll do anything in the world for. And I think all of our citizens that voted us to be here would do the same thing.
Well, I think my only question would be, we would need to know that the county is willing to do the other 50% of that, or we're.
Well, I mean, we can't control what but I'm
Right,
sure they
right.
would.
That's why
I'm
I say
sure.
if we turn around and
So we just
put
do,
a level of personnel, we say the volunteers, that leaves the paid staff and the
So-
sheriffs to the county.
So we
I
pay
think we cover
half
it
straight
all.
down. Okay, I'm good
I
with that.
cover it all. It's a gesture to these people that give so much to us. It's $50. We cover the 5150. I don't want to go back and forth with the county. I want to tell them thank you.
easy, make it.
Make the motion
I
to
like it.
pay, I'll make the motion to pay for the memberships for, Glen Rose Police Department, Somerville First Responders with the SO and the fire department
And DPS.
and the DPS. Make sure he gets covered.
I second that.
I have a second from Councilmember Schultz. All in favor? We have 4, 1 abstain. Passes.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will get up with whoever I need to get up with so that I can ensure that we are filling out the paperwork correctly.
Right there. That's your.
I will make sure that I get these for everybody. I will bring them so that the check can accompany, because it does in the memo have to be very specific in order for the CT 100 to recognize, and I will bring you a copy of their 501c3.
And make sure it's the 90 days,
90 days, yes.
90 days on
90 days. I will
volunteers.
get up with each entity and make sure that they've got the 90-day covered.
Yes, ma'am. I know you will. I got faith in you. Thank you.
Okay, now you can clap. Go ahead. And I hope like heck we never have to use any of them. All right, item number 4, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding, no, sorry, I did that. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding interlocal agreement with Somerville County and the city of Glen Rose Fire Marshal Services.
Larry Allen from the building department. We entered a interlocal agreement for fire marshal services with the county last year, and we're just renewing that same interlocal agreement. I can tell you that the fire marshal and I have worked together for over a year now, and it's been incredible what we've been able to achieve in life safety. You're seeing it all over town.
No changes to the contract, just an extension?
Same thing.
Work well.
Yeah, I move to approve the extension of the interlocal agreement between us and the Somerville County Fire Marshal.
I'll second.
All in favor? 5-0 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Larry.
one of the smoothest things we've ever implemented, right? I mean, it's been great.
I had a question, but I just held it in.
Yeah.
Ann, did you have a picture?
I gave it to the family.
Oh, you did, okay, yeah, did you, I don't know if you showed it or not, I was up here watching Dee.
I was in tears, so I,
Well, thank you anyway. All right. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a 380 economic development agreement with Baked.
All right, well, as you know, Baked purchased the building across from Sexton Mill and has been working to try to get contracting services to start bringing that building back to life. And so obviously we're in an inflationary environment. Those costs are quite a bit more than they have been in the past. And so we've been in discussions with Chris from Baked about ways that the city might be able to help. You know, we established the incentive fund last year and put some money in it, and we've started helping businesses that do not have signs purchase signs. What I'm suggesting that council consider would be 10,000 out of that fund. And that would go towards signage or anything, you know, similar that Baked will incur, and then $40,000 as a 380 agreement, a loan. And this would be a low interest loan, 3.5% interest, which coincides with the amount that we get from our bank, by the way. So it wouldn't be that it's really costing the city anything over the long term when you think about it. I have Chris from Baked here, and I would say this. I understand that we haven't done a lot of these in the past, but you know what we're trying to do with the square, whether it's lights, whether it's, you know, signage, whether it's directional signs to get people to come to the square, is really increase everybody's business. And there are certain businesses that you want to go out and seek to come to an area to bring people to that area. And I fully believe that Baked is one of those businesses. So I believe the justification is definitely there. And I think the stable history of the company for getting that loan paid back, it's definitely something that is worthy of consideration. Did you want to say anything else, or?
Yeah, I'm ready to. I know she.
No, I'm Chris with Baked in Granbury, and when I began my romantic relationship with this building, you know, I had in my mind's eye what it could be and what it will be. And I envision it filled with people drinking coffee and visiting. And one of the greatest things that you can bring to your community is a really good coffee shop. And the square, you know, would really benefit from it. I know that we have people come to Granbury from all over and to our location there. And I just think that it would be the same here. I believe in it. And, you know, when I purchased the building, it was literally, from the time that I saw it, I fell in love with it. It was literally maybe a month and a half before I closed, and I didn't have enough time to gather the bids that I needed to have a clear understanding of what it would take to redo it. And I came up short when I started getting the bids. So, you know, I know that I would be a huge asset to your community, and I just would appreciate you guys helping us in whatever capacity you could. Does anybody have any questions?
How long have you been in business?
5 years.
Anyone else?
I have some. So just ballpark, I'm not asking you to, you know, lay out your plan here, but overall, how many dollars roughly do you think it's going to take to be invested and kind of up and operating and running?
You're
So if you're asking us for a portion,
right.
what portion is that ask?
You want a percentage?
I don't care. Give it however you want to figure it.
It's going to take 180 to
$180,000 for the full project.
On top of,
On top of,
on top of this 40? So
no,
it's
that's
220?
included, right,
Okay.
no, it's, if all goes well, 180.
And that's for the remodeling work?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have we have money saved because it's gonna have to be, we're gonna have to buy all the equipment, the tables, the chairs, we have money saved for that, so, to get us going, but to redo it is just gonna cost so much more than what we thought it would. Unfortunately.
Anybody else? Any question? George, is that a hand raise?
That's a hand raise. And what are we talking about for the term on the loan?
You know, I think we've got to work that. I was thinking 10 years. I think that would be,
First lien position, 10 years?
yeah.
Could we pay that back early? I mean,
Oh, no prepayment
There's no
penalty.
Never.
It's like buying your first car. You're gonna need gap insurance too.
As far as structure, we could do a 5-year loan with a 10-year amortization, same payment amount, a lower term, a shorter term. But we can discuss the terms. It's really about the dollars there.
Yeah, my comment is for the city administrator, so.
All right, all right. We do have a speaker, another speaker.
Oh, okay, then I'll wait.
Okay,
Am I done here?
thank you, please.
I have one other question.
For her?
Chris,
Yes.
is this something you would personally guarantee?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I'm a good investment.
Okay.
Thank you. Story?
I just want to add.
Let them go ahead.
Okay.
I'm
Yep,
sorry.
no, you're right, go ahead, because I want to hear what you have to say.
I just want to add on her behalf, obviously, Chris, my wife, that the prices that it took to reno Granbury and actually do the store and build it, the prices now are like incredibly higher than they were then, and she didn't go into that, but that's kind of part of the challenge as well. It's just the bids that came in, the price, everything is just really a lot more expensive than when she started the original store. And I just wanted to.
Thank you.
I have to go up there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you got this. I talk a lot, but I don't do well.
Well, hang on 1 second.
All right, good. I'm Story Sharp with Storybook Cafe, and this is nothing against anyone. My question is, they're gonna get a loan for this amount of money, and they're gonna get a grant for signage and, marketing. Where was that when we were starting? I'll be here 16 years in November. I just don't quite understand what's going on here. And like I said, no offense, please don't take offense. Some of us businesses, there's other new ones that are here too, that have been putting a lot of our money into this for a lot of years. And we've worked very hard. I don't understand where all of a sudden these loans are coming from. Was there something we didn't know about that we could apply for? You know, I don't know. It's just a little bit much for me to think that she's gonna get $50,000 when I just spent all that money to redo my whole front stuff so that everything was good. So, and like I said, I'll be 16 years next month. And where, do we have to apply for it? Please let me know. Please inform us.
That's a good question. So let me explain a couple of things. We're not the same council we were.
I understand that
16 years
too.
ago. But here's the explanation. Let me finish here. Economic development is a very interesting part of a city. We have had no intention in Glen Rose for a while to bring people, to promote them, to get them here and assist them. Now, to your point of, is it available to others? It is. And if you have needs and you have shortfalls within your business, or if you want to expand and add a beer garden, those kind of things, you certainly come to our city administrator and address it. But that's part of the question. I want you to rebut the rest of it.
Yeah, and look, it's always hard to look in the mirror. I mean, obviously, I wasn't here or anything like that when you started, but you know, when you think about the types of businesses that you're trying to attract to help the overall town square.
Okay,
You know,
well, Donnie just opened a new business here. Did you offer it to her?
Well, again, this is nothing against her business, but there are certain businesses that we need in this town
So
square.
we need some more restaurants.
Well,
We need some more
absolutely.
sandwich shops. We need some more coffee shops. We need some more stuff like that.
In the town square we do, in my opinion, yes.
Okay.
I mean, we don't, we struggle to get, we have 1 million cars that drive right by your business, and you've got one of the most successful businesses.
Yes, sir. And
in
I
the
work
town
hard for
square.
it.
Absolutely. But we struggle to get people to stop, get people, we struggle bringing locals, honestly, from the county to eat in our restaurants downtown. We keep hearing, I can't be open, I can't be open, I can't be open because there's not enough business. There's not enough business. There's not enough business. When do we ever change it? So, look, if and this isn't Troy Hill, look, we've got people doing economic development studies right now of our town. And I've met with them and they work with cities and communities all over the country. And in my conversations with them so far, after they looked at our town and they were doing a complete analysis of the whole town, not just the town square, but it was restaurants, 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 restaurants. And I'll tell you, that's hard for you to understand, I get, because you see it as competition.
No, I don't.
But
I respect competition, and I hope you understand that. I am not taking it as that. It's not about the competition. It's about what's right is right. Okay? If they're gonna get $10,000 for signs, I need a new sign, then let's do it. Let's do what's right for everyone. Let's do what's right for her. She's getting a new marketing set. Okay, you say she's not a restaurant, whatever. Let's do it for all the businesses then.
Obviously, if council makes that decision, I would not recommend it, quite frankly. And it's.
Story, don't leave there.
And that's
Stay right
not,
there.
look, what I'm saying is, on your sign, absolutely, come fill out a permit. We are working with businesses that have been here. We are providing.
Really, because I talked to several today. Trisha Sexton didn't know about it.
Well,
Lavita
we've got-
didn't know about it. Cassie, who just opened the ice cream shop, I know that's not on the square, but I talked to her. None of them knew about this. None of
We've
them.
got 14 businesses.
Really?
Absolutely.
For a $250 sign versus a $2,000.
Hold please, thank you.
Okay, that's fine. I will not argue. I'm not gonna argue.
Well,
I'm not
I'd be
gonna-
glad to
Can I
meet
help?
with you and
Because
we'll
my
talk.
question is
That's
in the
fine.
same.
Okay,
But I'd like to know what 14 businesses there are, because I spoke to the ones on the square today. And I talked to everyone that was open today.
Yeah.
None of them knew that this was even on the agenda, that it was even a fact that you could get help.
Okay, we have a comment from Mayor Pro Tem, please.
That was actually the direction that I was going from a comment perspective is what I would like to see is we've talked about, so first off, we didn't have this ability until recently. We had to pass an ordinance to be able to get into these 380
I
agreements.
understand that.
So that's relatively new, a couple of years, maybe 3. But we have been talking about creating a program in which we have particular criteria that need to be met. And whether you're new or whether you've been here for 50 years, if you meet that criteria, then you're eligible for that. And so that is something that's underway. And so that was going to be my comment with this, is I would like this to be the first, that then we set those kind of parameters so that we go, okay, if it's on the historic square, if it's this kind of thing, if it's that, then it falls into this tiered system, so that we just kind of have, so then there isn't, because the perception is picking and choosing randomly. And in full transparency, we are going to pick some businesses over some others, because we have to make sure we have the kind of businesses and the kind of balances that we need. So it isn't going to be even Steven across the board, because we have to think holistically, but it shouldn't be, well, I like having coffee with this person and I don't this one. And we shouldn't even have that perception. So by creating this, using this as the foundation for a very clear protocol that, hey, here's the tiers, here's the criteria, based on this criteria, you fall into this. It could include things like what's the sales tax revenue generated, et cetera. And so that already we've had conversations. Yeah. So that we've already had conversations about doing that. And that was going to be my ask or direction for this is I'd like this to be okay, this falls into what tier, and then use that as the baseline for creating our tiers and getting them done. Because that's gonna be the thing that just gives everybody the confidence that although there will always be some discretion in it, there has to be, but at least there's a baseline and understanding where these different requests are coming from and what buckets they can fall in.
You know, one comment I'd like to make, Stuart, I understand your position, but we're here to develop, grow this city in a controlled manner and do what's right for the city, the businesses that are right, highest and best use of real estate. That has no highest and best use, but we do have a product and a company that can come in there that I think can develop it. And I really believe it will bring more people, hopefully for lunch at Storybook or anyone else. But this is about our city, our growth, controlling it for the right businesses. And if someone needs assistance, if you need, and you want to talk about a sign, I'm telling you, come over here and talk to Troy and y'all discuss it and see what it is. We're here to help everyone. Now, given that, we are looking for people that need assistance, that are having some issues, that we can get them started. And I have no doubt, and this loan that we're going to make, it's fully secured, we can't lose. That's not the question. The question is bringing those businesses here. We really want to do it. We want to drive. Yeah.
I just have one point of clarity. He said 3 years. It's been like 3 months.
No. The 380 agreement I did with Michael Lemons.
Yeah, Michael Lemons started the 380 agreements here, but she was referring.
Okay.
You have to establish a 380 ordinance to even get into 380 agreements.
Okay,
So,
but
yeah.
the stuff that Troy brought, the incentives and all of
Yeah,
that.
no, I said
that's
that's,
in the
yeah,
last
no, I'm talking about the
one.
380
Yeah.
program. We
Okay.
just established the 380 program. a few
Okay,
years
I just
ago.
wanted to make sure that people didn't think it was been around for a
Yeah,
year.
I just want you to know something too.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I have worked in this community more than the 16 years that Storybook has been here. I also was with the newspaper prior to that. And my whole goal then was to bring in businesses, bring in people, let's build our community. I have always been about community, and I'm all there for it. So I understand all that, and I have been to many of these meetings, county meetings, everything's meetings. I'm not ignorant to that. So y'all changed a lot. There's some stuff that's different, but one thing I think you need to do is let your business owners know. Make people aware of what's going on, because those of us that are here that have been working our asses off, excuse my language, feel like we're being shot.
Yeah, I can see that. I really, we all recognize that. But once again, the successful businesses that are here that don't need help. we
They all need
understand.
help.
Well, yeah, me too.
Everybody
I mean,
needs help.
I could use some help
Even,
too.
you
but
know,
just-
even in the
just
best
for
of
now.
times, you need help.
If you have something, if you have a concern, and spread the word, please. If you have a business, you have something, within reason, bring it to our attention. We want to help businesses. We want to support our businesses. We don't want to see anyone shut their door. And we want to see new businesses, right,
I
Troy?
understand that too.
No doubt.
So-
And I would just tell you also, we talked about trying to form a restaurant group. We've got one for the merchants downtown. So, you know, they may hear things that you don't hear and other restaurant owners don't hear. Now, Trish has been to a couple of them, but so I don't know
She
why she
wasn't aware
wouldn't
today
have
of any of it, because I
heard.
spoke with her.
She may not have been aware of Betty, but we've talked, and I'm pretty sure she was there when we talked about the downtown signs. But, you know, we need one for restaurants. We've got one for hotels. We've got one for downtown merchants. We need one for our restaurants.
I think it's a
Because
great
they
idea.
have, you guys have different issues in the downtown merchants or the hotels. So.
I did not mean to take one. It's okay.
I will guarantee you, you'll be in there for it.
Okay, I'm still here.
I'm trying to walk away, stay
I
right
really
there.
would like to go now.
So, Story, just one point of clarification. There was a program probably 7, 8, 9 years ago, council action put in where they were supporting businesses for $100 a month, businesses that needed it. And Levita was one of the beneficiaries. So if he forgot it, then
Okay.
that's an issue.
I don't know who I spoke to when I was in there.
But
Probably
my
wasn't the owner.
my bigger point is, we want to be strategic about the businesses that we want to continue to support and develop. You make a great sandwich. I love it. I can't eat there all the time because I shouldn't eat there all the time.
I appreciate
You know,
that,
but
and that's not what I'm asking.
no. But my point is, if you have a plan you have a need, you have something that we could help you with, because you're a very good anchor tenant in this downtown area that provides a sandwich during the downtown where nothing else is. So we want to support you. We want to help you grow your business. If you've got bigger plans, something else you want to do, George is all ears.
And I appreciate that. You do understand where I'm coming. I'm not just coming from a
100%.
restaurant point of view. I'm
No.
coming from the other ones that
Yep.
also have businesses.
Yep.
There's there and there's there and there's there. There's other ones that
And-
have businesses that it's just
And
all
the
of us
message, the
together
message is the same.
that are working. We
The
all work
message is
together.
the same. George is listening.
Okay.
I want to help you.
Okay.
If you have a plan, I want to help you. No, I'm not in election for another
And I
year.
don't- breathe easy right now.
Story, thank you for your
Yes.
passion. I tell you, centered towards forming a restaurant coalition.
Okay.
Let's get some conversation. Let's let
Alright.
people know what's out there.
Okay.
Oh, we still want a cream cheese croissant, and we still
Yeah,
want.
I understand.
In those phase.
I will tell you this, just go try the biscuits and gravy. Okay. Questions?
On our, the signs that we're doing now where we're helping the people get the signs, what are we offering them? I'm talking
So
about
we
outside.
wanted to make it easy, again, most of them are in the town square. Veronica's not here, but she has the.
She's not here.
And
I'm sitting behind her.
Sorry, Jim, but she's behind you. You know how, is it 11 or 14, one of the numbers is sticking on?
For how much it is.
How many signs?
How many there are?
Oh, 11 sounds about right.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
So 11 different businesses. And we targeted ones, again, trying to improve the look of the downtown square. And I mean, I would also point out the investment that the city is making in things that are gonna help everybody. You know, the lights for 116,000 or,
17.
117. Or, again, the signage that we wanted to make it easy. We wanted something that would fit on every facade. So the parameters were if you wanted a 3x6 sign, then the city would buy one, right? And we wanted to keep it simple and not create, something that was gonna drive up the cost. So as long as you were okay with that, then the city would purchase a sign for you. And that way, we work with the sign company, we get a better price. If we're doing 11, we get them installed at one time because these are historic buildings. So you're gonna have a lift. And so the cost, again, trying to keep the cost down, but also do something nice. I would just point to the investments that the city is making for everybody, even the signage directing people to downtown is gonna benefit every single business in this town square. So I think the intent is definitely there. And, we're redoing our website. We're gonna be approving the budget, but, our own personal website, our city website, not just the CDB, we're gonna have links that are gonna, inform everybody on things like this, an incentive program. We can put it on our website. Hopefully it'll increase the communication, but I think a restaurant group or the city would actually be a really good thing that we need to start. And I'll
Thank you, Troy.
definitely commit to.
My question was, how much are we spending for the signs for the other businesses?
I mean, they're $500 to $600 for the sign. And then depending on how much installation is, it's probably gonna run on average $150 per sign.
$150 per sign is what we're paying?
No.
During
It'll be at
installation.
650 total.
Yeah, so 650 probably.
And the uniformity of the signs, just once again, drawing people to the square. We don't have a banner here and a sign here, and we have a uniform look. It will look good and it will bring people to the square. It's all intentional.
Well, my
So
que-
I'm sorry.
My question is, if we're only giving the other people $650, even say $1,000.
Yeah.
why would we give 10,000 for signage on baked? And I got nothing, no problem with you guys. All I know is when I bring y'all's food home, I get in trouble. So that's all I know.
Like I think if I was gonna start a town, right? Or we've talked about, bringing businesses for our young people, right? Entertainment type options. When you find those type of businesses, look, sometimes you have to be extremely generous in what you're offering, knowing that that business is going to be an anchor, if you want to use George's language, to attract other people that you don't have to. You don't want to have to offer incentives to every single business come. But start out you do. And you have to be intentional about which ones you're going to do it with. So, to me, when you find a business that has the name recognition, just for the music festival and other times where the trailer's been here, they sell out like that. Or the enthusiasm, that people have for this business based on their reputation of excellence. Man, that's one and I'm telling you right now, and she may not want me to say this, but, Fort Worth is hot on their trail. There are cities around here that are giving storefronts that will pay people's rent for the first year. So, when you find those types of businesses and they want to come here, you should do what you have to do. Just trusting in the fact that it's going to help every single business here when more people are coming here. And look, I will say it to anybody. We don't have enough business on this square. We just don't. I walk around the square all the time. If you're down here, you see me walking around the square all the time. Sitting around all the time. No, I'm not sitting around, but the point is, I'll be the only one on the square, and it's most of the day. We don't have enough business. And as I talk to all the owners, they say the same thing. I can't hire somebody else. I don't have enough business. I can't stay open 5 days out of the week. I don't have enough business. So what are we gonna do to change it? What are we gonna do to change it? Well, I think if we're smart, we attract businesses like this that are gonna bring more people here, that are gonna make people that come up 144, sit and watch how many cars go through ours every single day. Imagine if they stop. They find a reason to stop. We gotta give them reasons to stop.
Sam, do you have something factual? It's my new term. Go ahead.
Factual you. I do want to say in realization of what we're talking about on the signs that Troy has been describing that the storefronts on the square are being entitled to are really flat signs above the facade. And where Baked is going and what they're going to need for signage is going to be much more likely to be a sign more similar to what I have in my property, which is pole sign, standalone, not attached to a building, that's closer to being able to draw traffic. That sign cost me $12,000. So granted, I loved it if you guys had this plan in place when I bought my sign, but you didn't. But just so an understanding of this kind of sign that I believe that they're going to need and go for is, is going to be a much more expensive sign than what Troy's describing is just going on a facade of the square, which is just a very 3x6 flat 10 sign. Just so you have a pricing point.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate it. Anybody else have a comment or question?
Yeah, I think the point is that when you're starting to try to activate, when you look at this town, 4 square miles, right? and you look at the future, what's that gonna look like? Where's our revenue gonna come from? We have one industry, that's tourism today. That's it. For the city itself, not the power plant or anything outside the city. So if you've got 4 square miles, you've gotta be very intentional about the types of businesses that are gonna bring people, that are going to make people want to come down from another town to go to. And I fully believe that if we get the parks and we get the walking bridge and they're walking across the bay right there, that it's gonna be busy. I'm telling you, it just is.
Okay.
So.
Us for the alcohol, put into their coffee and.
Okay, I'd like to make one statement, just so everyone knows, and get ready for this. You can see we're making a few changes. I'm gonna allow for people to comment in the audience from time to time. But I really want you, if you see an item on here that you're passionate about, put your name on the list and speak for that item, please. Because I want these council members to stay focused on the real agenda and what the items are. So just so you know, going forward, your arm may get tired. Ann, did you have something?
I just wanted to know if, since the sign program went into effect, and they were either 3x5, 3x6, simple signs. Historic Preservation has approved signs that they were told that they could expand the sign and the city would pay X amount of dollars up to what was allotted. And then whatever above that, they had to pay themselves. So with this now being allotted at $10,000, are you gonna go back and allow those businesses that?
No, of course not. I think you missed the.
I was just asking because it was questions that had been presented.
Yeah,
and
these
I
people
got-
don't need a $10,000 sign on the square. I understand what you're saying, but if we have another business that we're intentional about bringing to town and they need a traffic sign above Elm with traffic coming, we'll consider it. But these guys on the square, I think they're pretty happy with what we're providing.
I was
So
not
we pretty-
disputing any
Yeah,
of that. I was
so
just-
the answer is
Maybe.
maybe. You know, if it's the right business, the right location, the right to bring more people, come have breakfast and then go down to the Storybook and have a great croissant, tuna salad sandwich with the best iced tea in town. I'll say it.
That's no doubt.
And pickles, and kidding,
And pickles.
I
And pickles.
appreciate it, thank you very much. I would just,
Yeah, a good question. Anything else?
I have one other thing for Troy. Is the 10,000 grant, that's kind of our match, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That kind of leads into what I was gonna ask, is I know I was looking, and of course, we can't get into past minutes because it was on the April 9th meeting that we approved the economic development incentives for the businesses, the signs and so on. But I had it in my mind that I thought we maxed it out at 5,000. Did we max it out at 10?
It was gonna have to come to council.
That's
remember?
right, yeah. It was 5,000,
Yeah, so you guys gave me authorization, I think up to 5, but anything over needed to come to council, and we kind of said, I don't know if we put a max, but we kind of said the most we'd probably do is 10,000.
Thank you.
I have a quick question, sorry.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a gorgeous sign, but nobody can see it because the trees are overhanging from the bird sanctuary. Who can I get to trim that so people can see my sign down front now?
Boy, you're asking the wrong fellow, but you know something?
No, Mass, what business?
LT&K,
Excuse me?
LT&K, I'm Christy Arnold.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
You can call anyone at City Hall and they can get it.
I
You can get it in front of the right person.
Yep, I'm almost taking it out myself,
Yeah.
because I've already had to move my signs.
I've been known to go out and do jobs like that for the right amount of
You don't know
dollars
if you want
too.
to see me up there. So,
Can I make a motion?
Real quickly.
just really quickly, I just wanna say with this addition of Bay too, like a lot of, like I've had a lot of influencers have gone to Storybook, so everyone loves going to going to her place. She's an amazing place. But it's also gonna be so awesome to have both because Chris opens at 7 a.m. and she closes at 2. Stories open at 11 and close at 3. So they're gonna capture a lot of different crowds and customers, and I think it's gonna be a great overlap and really a great asset too. I think they'll both complement each other.
Thank you. Any other comments up here?
I'm excited for y'all to come. I've gotten so much positive feedback about y'all. I mean, we've taken trips just to Granbury to go to Baked, and so I'm glad y'all are coming.
Shot Glen Rose down.
You know, I love Glen Rose. I'm here all the time. so-
Sometimes you need to go on a date and
Yeah.
get to eat.
All right.
So I move to approve the agreement as presented with the addition of direction to staff to use this as the starting point and get that program formalized so that in upcoming communications, folks can get engaged that are existing or new, and we've got that structure in place.
We have a motion?
I'll second it if you'll add that there's a personal guarantee attached to it.
Oh, yes, of course, absolutely. Well, that's why I asked, would we be in first lien position? And he said yes, but yes,
Personal guarantee.
personal guarantee included.
Which is different than.
Okay, second, there was a second motion by George Freeze, Councilmember George Freeze. All in favor? 4, all against? 1, passes. All right, item number 7.
Wait, I have a question. Troy, I mean, Story had mentioned needing a sign. Could she come and apply for one of the signs that everybody else is getting, like around the square?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks. We love you, Tori, right?
Please don't.
I did.
Don't worry.
All right, item number 7. This should go quick. Guys, ladies.
I'm ready to make it.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Glen Rose Independent School District Homecoming Parade held on September 18th, 2024, Bernard Street and Historic Square closure. That's on Wednesday evening.
I move to close the square September 18th, 2024 and Bernard Street for the homecoming parade.
I second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Schultz. All in favor?
I should have worn my hat.
5-0. We're gonna have a parade.
We need to keep one here for you.
All right, item number 8. Thank you, Stuart. Discussion regarding to change the zoning at the request of Somervell County for the Expo Center from industrial to special use permit. Troy?
Okay, so this is discussion on no action. So this, we received an inquiry from the county about changing the zoning and locking in, if you will, the uses that have been at the expo.
Clarity is not changing the zone.
Excuse me?
Not changing the zone.
Not
Yes.
changing the zone.
It's the,
Requirement for specific
Correct.
use permit.
so we would change the ordinance to reflect on arenas that need a special use permit. And then also, we would consider the county's request to grant that, to put the arena, the expo, under the special use permit and list out the uses. And those uses would coincide with rodeos,
They have music festivals, conventions.
right,
It's on their agenda.
just list it all out.
Is that a way to like protect the?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So to understand, working on it, I'm working on it.
Dean Conrad, please.
So
To
this is just
understand-
direction that you're giving staff
Mhm.
to send it through the process.
Yeah, and what we would say is, so is it two things saying that, this is the uses for industrial, and on top of that, when it falls onto those uses, it requires a special use permit? I'm confused between special use permit.
We wouldn't cover the industrial.
Oh, okay, that's where my,
We'll have planning and zoning chair just give us a 30 seconds max.
So in the schedule of uses, on industrial, we have under agricultural uses, arenas, fairgrounds, et cetera. Right now in industrial zone, it's an X, which is permitted without anything.
We're going
to
there we go.
change that to an S.
Yeah.
And with that, we're then going to create the specific use permit form that they're applying for, that the county is applying for,
Got it.
to limit what is going to be able to be used in the expo center.
Perfect.
And we're bringing that at your next meeting. We wanted to bring it up to you guys now.
So current property owners are saying, we want this.
Correct.
Just,
Correct.
yep, got it.
Stuart?
Will that hold over to the new property owners if there is one?
Yes.
Okay.
We are specifically by state law, it holds to the property. So as long as we have that written into our ordinances, that special use permit or specific use permit stands with the property regardless of ownership changes.
Yeah, I do want to make it clear, and Troy, I think it's our error, but it is a specific
Specific
use,
use
not
permit is
a
our
special
definition.
purpose.
They're used differently, same thing, but different names and different
All right,
formats.
well, we'll use our planning and zoning, make sure we
Yeah.
work. Anybody else have something?
The county's requesting us to do this?
Yes, sir.
It is on their next commissioners meeting agenda.
Yesterday.
Yes.
They voted.
Okay, it was in their agenda, they've asked for this.
It voted and passed
Yeah.
unanimously.
Okay, do we have anything else?
We just direct us out to.
Oh, that's right,
continue
we're not gonna vote on
Yeah.
anything, so no more
There's no
questions,
vote,
they're all
it's just
informed.
really getting feedback from you all, on direction for staff.
Sounds to me like the current property owner wants to put some guardrails or framework around their property and they're asking us to assist them with that.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, item number 9, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a request for a specific use permit for short-term rental for the property located at 301 Southwest Bernard, acre 0.510, tract F7-26, abstract A136, Milam County School, LD tract F7-26 to operate in the R1 Single Family District.
You did it.
Yes.
I'm just here.
Could you give your name, please?
This is Pam Streeter. I'm representing the Planning and Zoning Commission tonight. This is, many of you will know this house. It is the little red house on the corner right between Karen Richards Landscape and the Citizen Center. They are surrounded, the catty corner from them is River House Grill, 2 blocks down is Bernard's Mill, 2 buildings down is Bernard's Mill, 2 buildings the other way is In on the River. This is actually the perfect location where a short-term rental should be. It's not in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It's really in a business district that has just been zoned residential. So we, through conversations, the commission unanimously agreed that this was the right placement of a short-term rental, and we made the recommendation that it gets approved.
Stuart?
Where's the owners at?
Right
Oh,
back there.
Thank you.
They're home here.
So I need to know, I just wanna make sure they're.
No, they're here. We made sure they knew they had to be here.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else have a question, comment?
Is this their primary residence?
No, they actually did purpose buy this for the purpose of short-term rental. We did ask that question. It has recently sold from a primary resident
Right,
to them.
yeah, it was a primary resident
Yeah,
there, yes.
It was a primary resident.
I will share with y'all why I asked that question. I agree that if there was one place to go, hey, where should we have an Airbnb? It would be that home. But I would also agree more so that we continue to lose homes off of our market. Every time a renter moves out, or every time a home is sold, or at least primary, more often than not, it's backfilled with an Airbnb. So it seems like for every house that's getting built, we're losing a house off of the market to short-term rentals.
So I do want to say that we have, and Troy and I have spoken, and we have all spoken about the idea of overlay districts and protecting some of our neighborhoods where we wouldn't necessarily want to see short-term rentals, and that is in
the works. We've got some procedures that we have to put in place first that will be, they're being removed from tonight's agenda and being moved to your October agenda, but with that, we'll be able to move forward in doing some of those protections.
I just, in full transparency, I'm 50-50 on this. On one hand, I recognize it's the perfect spot for an Airbnb. On the other hand, I recognize it's another house off of the
They
market.
couldn't sell the house to anybody. They had many buyers looking at it, but because of traffic
Location.
and location, they were not getting offers.
Got it. Thank you.
That helps.
Anyone else?
On the map overlay that you're talking about, y'all are working, is it gonna impact where this residence is at all?
No.
No more discussion?
No.
Any action?
Well, I'll make the motion to approve the special use permit for the short-term rental. Specific use, thank you, located at 301 Southwest Bernard.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Mann, all in favor? 5-0, passes. There you go. Item number 10. Hannah, can you be at attention, please? Discussion, consideration and possible action regarding a request for a specific use permit in order to operate a custom art tattoo and piercing parlor at the property located at 611 Northeast Big Bend Trail, Suite A, acres 0.562, subdivision R0500, abstract A136, Rives Lot 7 and 8, within a B2 General Commercial District zone.
This property is located right by the H&R Block, Sundown Subs. It's in that strip center. It is owned by Glenn Wilson. And Glenn Wilson, for many of you who know him, is a very conservative gentleman. And and I'll actually let the applicant speak to his story and his interest with where Glenn came from. But Glenn actually is supporting this. Glenn is the owner of the building. Glenn was initially, I was shocked when I read that Glenn actually was supporting this, but in the number of applications that went out and the number of applications that returned with approval, we did not have anybody that was against this. In talking with the gentleman, and again, he'll tell his story, tattoo industry is not what the tattoo industry was in the 70s and 80s. This isn't a sleazy, horrible thing. It's going to be very family-centered. There is quite a few people in our community who sport tattoos as a art form, and you'll notice that he did name this as a custom art. So in discussing with him and discussing and reviewing all of the correspondence with the neighboring business owners, we did recommend approval, and that was a unanimous vote by the P&Z, which, as you guys know, we have some conservative old timers on the P&Z who aren't here today.
Well, you're not far off, so.
But this was a unanimous vote, and I am gonna suggest that you come up and.
May I ask Pam one quick question?
Sure.
Is it a SUP because of the business type or because of the location? Did we
It's
not
a
have a
SUP
place for
because of the
that?
business
Okay, got it. Thank you. Got it.
Matthew?
Matthew Cook, the 1079 Highland Drive. I did ask for the specific use permit so I could open the custom art and piercing studio in Glen Rose for my purposes to be closer to my family, not traveling so much anymore, a place for my daughter to go since my fiance is going to be going back to medical. Did just go back to medical school, so she's going to be gone quite a bit. But as Pam was saying, the tattoo industry isn't what it used to be. It's not the sleazy biker joints, excuse my language, that everybody knows where the CD types go to be, late night, not leaving until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. My hours of operation are gonna be from noon to 8 p.m. Like I said, I do have a family to get home to. I don't wanna be gone late nights myself. My daughter's gonna be coming there after school. That way she can do her homework and paint and draw with us. She's gonna have to stay in back because it is still a tattoo studio or be up in the lobby area. Minors aren't allowed in the tattoo area. We are gonna pierce minors, because I don't agree with minors going to like Claire's or different kiosks in the mall. They're not licensed professionals. They're not educated in bloodborne pathogens. It's really not a safe area to take your kids to get piercings from. And they also use a non-sterile gun to push a blunt object through, tearing the lobeal tissue, which causes complications later on with healing. A lot of kids end up having to take their piercings out because they form lumps or all kinds of other issues with it, where the earring grows into the ear because of that trauma. But I also don't pierce under 10 years old, because you have to be able to tell me this is what you want. You have to be old enough to kind of understand if you play with it too much or you're not cleaning it properly, you could get an infection. And I want the child to be able to understand that.
Council questions?
How long, just from how long have you been tattooing?
16 years.
Okay. I have no questions.
Richard, you said?
Yeah, I think all my questions got answered when you visited, whatever it was, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So no, I have no questions.
Glad you ran the location.
Thank you. Oh, and as far as Mr. Wilson goes, yes, he shut me down right away the first time we spoke. I saw his location at the Somerville Plaza. I guess it was a medical center at one point, that he was renting some spots out. And I knew per zoning, if a beauty salon could be there, it was kind of where a tattoo studio could be as well. So that's why I gave him a call. It wasn't 45 seconds on the phone where he had asked me what I wanted to do with the property, told him my business, and he said, oh no, that's not gonna happen. And he hung up. I gave it a couple of weeks and found out that he owns most of the properties out here. And I gave him another call, asked him, I know you already said no. How about you come to coffee with me, get to know me, talk about the industry, talk about my business plan a little bit. And by the end of it, he was showing me properties.
Well, congratulations on overcoming that and your tenacity. And I would move to approve the use of this specific use. Oh,
Can I ask just one question? If it's approved tonight, how soon do you think you'll be up and running?
I would like to do at least a soft opening by September 20th. I still have to have Mr. Allen and the fire marshal come do their inspections.
Perfect.
I have been working on the building and furnishing
Do you have a
it.
tattoo you're waiting for?
What's that?
Do you have a tattoo you're waiting for?
Yeah, but I gotta have surgery first, so, sorry.
Okay, we had a motion.
Second.
George Freeze, second the motion. All in favor? 5-0.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Now, I will say this, Matthew, if we see any motorcycles parked up front, Buck will cite you.
My motorcycle's gonna be there.
Expensive parking, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna close the public comments and discussions, and we're gonna go into announcements and presentations. The consent agenda, we have item 20 and 21. If we can consider this routine by the city council to not specify any individual items, but approve it, we can do so with one motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2 items, 20 and 21.
Second by George Freeze. All in favor? 5-0. Passes. Thank you. Staff reports, we're gonna start with Jim Holder on Public Works, please.
I don't really have anything to add.
Everybody's just sneaking up to the podium tonight. Look at that. Any questions for his report? Since we can't pull it up on our computers?
You've got it in an email, sir.
I've got it. Hard form, I have no questions.
I do want to make a comment because I love seeing your FYI info, and I made a big asterisk next to it. I'm glad TxDOT has agreed to Highway 67 creating a school zone down by the high school. I applaud that. I think that is much needed. So I just wanted to say thank you for staying on it. And of course, thank you to Sarah too, but thanks for all that, and I'm glad that happened.
And to Trig Overbo, Dr. Overbo.
Yes, absolutely.
Working with it. That was much needed. Anything else? Thank you, Jim. Police Chief, Mark. We're open for questions. Anybody?
No, I wanted to compliment you on last Friday when you were directing the kids across the street to the sidewalk. That's huge. Yeah, thank you.
Quite a few of them. All of them don't, some of them don't come across, I'll ask them and tell them, they're like, nope, we're not going across. Okay.
Even like just stopping traffic, and I loved it. I loved it.
Well, we know you're a man of one force right now. That should change, but thank you for your dedication. We see you out there doing a good job.
Thank you.
All right. Larry, Building and Planning Department. Hang on one second.
I'm gonna be shorter than that.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on what we see this month on numbers?
The year over year inspections are just
The inspections
mind-boggling.
were high.
Yeah.
The numbers were low, but that's because of the type of permits we issued. I will tell you that we have a full staff now. I have a new code enforcement officer that's gonna be in training. We have a new animal control officer that's in training. So that's Veronica got that done, Troy. So we're working on that and we're doing some things. Troy and I went and this Monday, and we went around a little bit. We went up to Stoneview so that he could get a look at that builder who's been extremely successful here. This is his number one out of all the different sites he does. He sold 8 out of 10 houses. He just applied for a new application. They're sold before they get built.
Wow.
It's a hot market up there. And we're seeing some other buildings going up, a lot of residential. So we're seeing that. We're closing out some commercials. Everybody knows McDonald's is about to open up. Right?
This afternoon.
Right. And Starbucks is coming, folks. So everybody that heard that stuff about Starbucks, they were held up by utilities. And once those utilities got fixed, they now have their approaches in and they're pouring their sidewalks along English Street. We're not doing it on TxDOT. We have to go through too much to get that. We've already reviewed the interior build out, which is Starbucks. So they're turning the shell over sometime soon.
All right. Any other questions?
Update on the stage over at Whiskey Woods.
Yes.
I mean, is there an update?
Everything is go. The contractor's been in touch with us frequently in the past week. There were some modifications that he brought in sealed drawings for, so it's all set. The permits are approved, just waiting from the start.
Wonderful.
So it will happen real quick.
They were expected to do Monday or Tuesday. Their crew comes from the Houston area, so that's a bit of a delay.
Right. Once they get started, I think it'll go quick.
Hannah, do you have something quickly?
Yeah. Is there an update on Dino Pediatrics?
Dino Pediatrics has been in the process of changing contractors.
Okay.
That's gonna be straightened out, and I think we'll see that moving a lot quicker.
Okay.
That just happened.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Larry.
Anything on animal control?
Oh, I'm sorry. I will say that they came and picked up a foster cat at my home today, got it fixed and back on. It actually had bowel movements and they're bringing it back.
Bring it back to you. You're gonna foster it, right?
We're foster.
Yeah, I saw that little kid come out of the pocket in your stand.
Wait a minute, Larry.
We're glad to hear the success.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to do it. They did.
Stuart has a question.
What do you want me to ask?
That was so quiet.
There's a gentleman that lives up behind, pardon me? Spanish Oaks, and animal control And I know that this has been brought before, and so I didn't know, I
It was
mean,
code enforcement, correct?
it was that and then also animal control. I don't know. Like, what did he tell you exactly about the dogs?
Yeah, well, we already, there was no video of it. So
Oh, I
there's-
see.
Let me take a little look at where we're standing on that.
Okay.
Christie has been dealing with that for years. It's been a feud between the two. If it's the
Oh,
one
I
I think
see.
you're talking about. And
All right, check into that,
so
Larry.
I'll check into it. And I'll get back to you on it. All right.
Thank you, Larry.
Troy, we have not had a meeting where you talked less.
I'm telling you, when I looked at the agenda, I'm like, awesome, only 2 items, you know?
We can skip your report if you like.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I was gonna mention also, hiring has been going well. Matthew is code enforcement. Joe McCarthy, we call her Joe Mac. Somebody
You got to
else.
distinguish.
Is our municipal clerk. She's fantastic. And Marissa Reyna in animal control. So Lane Building, it's gone to architect. We expect something back in 45 weeks. Obviously, we'll bring that to council. We've got a few gas tanks that may have to be removed in front of the building that shows some signs of leaking, so. It's taken a long time, but it's environmental, structural, it's just, it takes a long time. Lights are waiting on one more building owner, I believe, is that right?
Yes, although I've emailed them to see if we can swap where the meter is, so
Yeah.
we may not have to wait.
Yeah, that would be good. They're targeting October 11th during the Wine Fest, which would be a great time to do it. A lot of people stumbling around, so.
It's fun.
Troy Stewart had a question.
We're gonna have them all, we're gonna turn all them on at one time, or we're gonna have some missing pieces, or that's why we're waiting on that owner?
That's why we're waiting on the owner. That's the one struck by LTK. So, that's the only one we're waiting on.
Okay. And if we
Now-
don't get the okay by the owner, we're gonna go ahead and turn on what we got? Or we need that okay to turn on what we got?
Well, we wouldn't have a consistent connection there. We turn on the rest though.
Yeah, it is an important building because it's the corner.
Gotcha, okay.
So, hopefully we'll get it.
No.
Signs for storefronts are waiting on a mock-up from the sign company. We have all the approvals, obviously, we got the COAs, we got approvals from the business operators and the building owners. So we are really waiting on mock-ups to be done for each one, get signed off, and then get these going and up, so hopefully soon. Parks, I sent a slight revision back that they asked for, just saying that, if they were ever used for something other than parks, then the county could have the option to take them back. So, there goes the Walmart. Bad joke.
Really bad joke.
Really bad.
Please don't ruin it. Please. And here it goes.
Going on Glenrose.
Okay, so getting bids on wayfinding signs. We've got some issues with the ones, and I've shared them with the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, but the problem becomes we've got so many signs at key intersections on the square already that some of these signs, we're not gonna be able to use the ones that we had kind of targeted. So we're still in, kind of looking at those, but looking at maybe upgrading the monument signs as you come in. And those are gonna look fantastic.
Glen Rose.
Yes, please.
You mean it's 2 words?
That'll change everybody's universe if we just make it.
I don't even look at it. Sometimes I think about taking it out, that way they'll rebuild it and separate them.
Troy, anything else?
Getting bids on replacing planters, the weeds and all, taking them out. Maybe looking at doing something that would be like a xeriscape, like a gray rock, a thornless cactus, something like that. So
And we did meet with the Master Gardeners, the Gardening Club, and we'll take their advice on less
you can't
maintenance.
keep them alive.
Yeah, you can't. Very well,
You have to invest in the infrastructure. You have to get water.
Yeah, true.
Mural on the back of the CVB will begin soon. Again, going back when we first showed you guys the cowboy with the it's like a sun with the cowboy hat, and it'll be fantastic.
We still have to move the drainage pipe on that?
Yes. Christmas Town Committee was formed. Members are Tracy from Front Porch Designs, Lindsay from Feast, Sherry Steenson, Jeannie Lane, Frida Smith, Mayor Bowles, and Troy Hill. So,
on what committee?
Christmas committee.
time.
I thought my wife was doing that.
Congratulations.
The real Mayor Bowles. I'm sorry. But it's going to be fantastic. So we've already got some great ideas that are being floated out and getting some bids. It's going to be awesome. So we'll give you another report, obviously, as these start coming in. But that's all I got.
All right, any council member have anything?
Just two quick things. One, I'm super upset with myself because I was remiss when we talked about our very first item, which was the facility with Wolf Hollow. I want to recognize Somerville County resident Frank Moffitt. He was very, very involved in hosting events for folks to come to his house, gathering information, being really a conduit between Hood County and Somerville County and the work that they've been doing. And Mr. Moffitt passed away just under 2 weeks ago, not this past Friday, but the Friday before. And so I just want to, publicly recognize the work that he did. Thank his family for sharing him with us as we were getting that work done. So just wanted to make sure that I said that because he was a very somewhat quiet man, but man, any question I had, he could answer. He was phenomenal. And so I'm going to miss that partnership with him, but I'm very appreciative of the time that we got to spend together. Second, for this stream, we've got a project management tool that we're practicing on. So Veronica got us Monday, which is something that we've talked about for some time. Team just they no longer had the functionality for the tasks, which is kind of the whole reason we needed it. So Veronica got Monday and she's added me to it and we're playing to try to just figure out, and then it'll start going out to all of y'all. But I just wanted y'all to know I was going to start doing stuff and I'm like, I don't want them to start getting emails and going, what in the world is this? So going to start playing, putting some projects together, information together so that we can share stuff from the meeting, not like takeaways and things of that nature. So if you start getting, hey, you've been invited to Monday, or Demetro assigned you a task.
Don't send it to me on Tuesday.
Oh, there you
All
go.
right, good enough, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor's a great position sometimes. I get to hand out proclamations, I get to speak before a parade. I want to make a comment today, and this is no guidance or no suggestion. I am not a politician. As mayor, I don't declare a party, but I would like all of you. I suggest you go home and watch the presidential debate. I believe it's crucial that all American citizens let their voices be heard. I also believe that we should vote for what you consider the best direction of this country. I personally will not vote based upon the personality or the gender of a candidate. I will vote based on the policies, platform, and the direction a candidate espouses to take our country. And I'd like to say God bless you.
Amen. Amen.
And in closing, would you all join me in singing happy birthday to Troy Hill?
Oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Troy. Happy birthday to you.
This meeting is adjourned at 7:34. Thank you, Bruce. So that was amazing. We